My name's Charlie Sextro, I'm one of the senior programmers here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scan the crowd. I want to see every person's face, because I must know who are the people who are driven to be at the very first screening ever of the Cabbage movie. Because you are my people. I like you a lot. Let's all be friends. I would be doing the exact same thing if I were you. So you are here tonight to see the world premiere of Bubble and Squeak. This is premiering in the U.S. Dramatic Competition, and this is a directorial debut of writer-director Evan Toohey. Of course, a film like this has brought together such a fun cast, which is fearlessly led by Sarah Goldberg and Dinesh Patel. I'll also note that Dinesh is clearly an overachiever because he was at, last year, he was a part of our Screenwriters Lab, a very prestigious Screenwriters Lab at the festival. We're now very, very happy to have him here officially within the festival program. So the reason this film jumped out to us on the programming team because it was such a much needed distraction from the reality of life that can feel sometimes like a never-ending hellscape. And sometimes the thing you need is just something to put a big dumb smile on your face. And I have the perfect film for you. Please welcome writer-director Evan Toohey.
This is so cool. Thank you so much for being the first audience for this film. I'm speechless. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much to Sundance for having us. And it's so touching to see so many people in the crowd who were a big part of this movie. I'm thrilled to be here and excited and nervous. So thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hello. Okay, do me a favor, please welcome back Evan Toohey. And also with him, let's have Dinesh Patel, Sarah Goldberg, Dave Franco, Christina Mo, and Stephen Young. So before I open up the audience for questions, I think, Evan, we're definitely going to have to know where this story came from. Love to hear the evolution of that, and also what is your relationship to cabbage? Like, what do you want to share with this audience?
Thank you. This was a short play. It began as a short play that I started almost 15 years ago, and I don't remember why or what my relationship was to cabbage. But over the last 15 years, I've just sort of chipped away at it and added stories and people and places from my life into it until it's become this sort of shaggy dough of experiences. So it's just so touching to reach this point and share it with you to the end of my own simple long journey.
Cool. Awesome. And then maybe from Steve and Christina as producers on this film, how did this project come to you? Kind of what was the evolution? And, how did you guys get joined on the project?
I read this script. I got a script sent to me with the title and the email "Cabbages," and got me. And so I read it, and I was really taken by the boldness of all of it. There was a way in which, I tried to grasp it and understand it, and I couldn't really put it to words or fit it in my head. And that was very interesting to me. It felt kind of like fiction feeling realer than real life. And so I immediately jumped to it, and it kept going and had a life since then. And just built and found these people, and all these incredible artists came together. And then when Christina got involved to help produce, it really shot off, and she kind of was the galvanizing piece that put this all together.
Next question.
Next question. And one last, just the rest of the cast, if you guys want to talk, what is your kind of relationship to reading the script for the first time? Was the tone and everything clear to you, or was that kind of like just the first step, and then you had to talk to Evan to really kind of grasp exactly what the film was going to be?
Yeah, it really blew me away the first time I read it. I hadn't read anything like it. My agent called me and was like, I've got the script. I don't understand it at all, but I think it's for you. And I read it, and I was bowled over because there's such specificity in Evan's writing, and I love the whole kind of wild, zany metaphor of it all, but it was so kind of rooted and grounded as well. And then I met Evan, and he's just such a lovely human, and he put together this wonderful group, and I think everybody came to this really open and willing to kind of work together as a group and be really present, and then we had this great hymn sheet to go off of because of the amount of sort of specificity and the rhythm of the language, which when Himesh and I started rehearsing together, I found that they were sort of like this double act between them, as different as they are. They sort of operate as a piece.
I agree. I remember when I was first reading the script and I got to my part, and on the page he was described as a 55-year-old grizzled Australian man. But I really loved the role, so I got on the Zoom with Evan, and I remember just being like, hey, I'm truly not fishing for a compliment, but like, why me? And he gave me a pretty simple answer. He was like, Neighbors too. I really like Neighbors too. I was like, the first one, I was like, I like the first one, but the second, I was like, I'm gonna have like 2 C's. He's like, what I said.
You don't know this, we had a whole discussion about should we ask Dave to do an Australian accent? Can you do it? Maybe don't ask her.
Okay, let's open up to the audience. Any questions or anything else? Anyone? Okay, whoever invite that. Oh, right, yeah, yes.
Was there ever an iteration where, at the end of that journey, after the marriage of Neil, that they didn't part?
There's a different version where they maybe didn't part.
Yeah, there was. The first short play, they stayed together. It was almost more like they had this secret that they shared. But that's, I wrote it when I was so young and I understood so little about relationships. And I think as I got older, it felt more and more right for them to at least end into an ambiguous place. I guess to me it's like they will always love each other. So it almost doesn't matter to me as much, I think, as I got older, whether or not they stay together. I think so many movies, it's about the end, and if the couple stays together, then it's a successful relationship, and if they break apart, then it justifies that they, were never right for each other. But it hasn't been my experience, so I wanted to take these two who do love each other and have something, but maybe they shouldn't be together clearly, when they're clearly not right for each other also. And to me, that felt a little bit more true. As I got older, I think this ending felt a little bit more right to me.
Okay, now next one. We go to you in the blue jacket and then come over here.
Can you talk about the shooting process, like where you shot and then you actually wear couches?
Your question is now where they shot and if they actually wore couches.
First part. We shot this in Estonia, which were just the most lovely people and true hosts to us and collaborators. It's a beautiful country that gave us so much sort of natural beauty to work with. And do you want to hit that?
Well, real cabbages would be quite weighty and quite stinky, so we had a lot of fittings to try to find the right shape and the right texture, and I underneath the pants is an elaborate mix of every type of material and ball, from like kids' stuffy balls to styrofoam balls, and we had to find things that didn't cause problems for sound, and it was a process, and it took about 3 people to get me dressed in the morning. By the end, I was really good at getting the pants on and off myself, but it took the whole shoot to get there. It was, and they were very hot.
Also, a decent amount of discussion about the cabbage diaper. At first, there was mentions of a cabbage dong, if you will, and I thank you for talking me out of that.
And then, yes, in the red hat.
Yep. I feel badly asking this question because he's not here, and you all did so well. But this question is about Matt Berry and his accent, which feels like he's channeling Werner Herzog. Was that a discussion you had with you on this choice of accent?
The question is if Matt Berry was channeling Herzog.
That is exactly what he is doing. Yeah, I think early on, you want it to be precise and accurate, but I think it also became important as we went on to make sure that we could place this country specifically on any map. And we created this language that's sort of a mashup of a whole bunch of languages from that region. And I think ultimately, I think the ethos of this is just to sort of let people who do something really well do what they do well. So I think it just became less and less important to me that there was accuracy. I mean, we're in a country that hates cabbages. So it just felt at a certain point that realism maybe wasn't the name of the game.
I'm going to come over right next to each other. It's Mark pointing. I'm going to go with you in that hat. Just on that hat. Yeah.
I wanted to ask Mr. Dewey. So I think this wonderful film has such a unique language and style. And I want to know what your inspirations were, prior to that time.
The question is about inspirations on the language and style of the film.
Thank you. I think that there's a number. I think in terms of writing, in terms of the script, I sort of thought of this as sort of a child of sort of classic screwball. I've always loved Bringing Up Baby, and I love a talky film that just sort of lets characters be who they are and talk. And I've always looked at those sort of older movies. So I definitely think that Screwball has its DNA in this. And then I think our amazing DP Anna and I visually, I think we looked at a lot of there is an absurdism to it, but we wanted to ground it at the same time, so it doesn't sort of depart this world and become so silly that there's no emotional core to it. So I'd say we were looking at Roy Anderson a lot visually. It was. I think there's Wes Anderson in here as well. I definitely look up to Charlie Kaufman and other sort of absurdists who I admire. So it is sort of a grab bag of a lot of things that I've liked over the years.
Question back corner.
How long was your shoot? What is next for the film? And how long after the sequence in the church did you go before you ate cabbage?
So, how long was the shoot? What's next for the film? And how long after the cabbage did you see did they eat cabbage?
Yeah, I think we had 23 days, 23 and a half shooting days.
Yeah.
Something like that, give or take. We'll see what's next for the film. I don't know. Excited to find out. And I don't think any of us will be talking about, speaking of, or eating cabbage.
9 months of cabbage.
They're eating real cabbages.
We would actually eat cabbage. How long did you guys actually have to shoot the cabbage? How much cabbage were you eating? How long were you doing that?
There was so much cabbage.
It's not to sweat this thinking.
To give them a bucket.
Time for a few more questions. You in the secretary. Yep.
saw that a lot of your scenes had the camera far above your subjects and far away, so that way it just seemed like you see a lot of the world around. What's your inspiration on that?
The question was how there's a lot of distance, the camera had a lot of distance from the characters and inspiration.
That's a great question. Yeah, I think one thing Anna and I talked a lot about was wanting a sort of feeling of surveillance, that they're still being watched even though Shavapur is far away. So I think that was the specific sort of inspiration there. I think the same goes for the Aspect Ratio. Not only does it sort of pull it together and make it sort of intimate, keep you with the relationship, but we did want to sort of feel a little claustrophobia as well. I think too many wives and you start to feel that they could get out. I hope that does. Anna can speak so much more eloquently on it, but that's the nutshell. Yeah.
We have time for one more question. You, the yellow scarf.
Right. So you said that it was a mishmash of like the last 15 years. So I immediately am wondering when you ran into a man in a bear suit or a American. So I'm wondering if you can give an example of something that happened that made you think, oh my gosh, this needs to go on my cabbage.
So the question is about real life experiences that influence what you see.
That's a great question. I wonder if I have a good answer for you. I don't really, but I think that I guess I would say that like each character, like Norman, for example, I've certainly been in relationships where there's jealousy, or I think or like there's always like a moment where you're happy and they're not, or they're happy and you are. I don't know how direct anything is lifted directly from my life, but I do think that as I sort of experienced more and hit sort of emotions that I didn't know before, they sort of became these various characters. They're all sort of abstractions probably of moments or people from my life, but more just like the feelings. I think I feel like I didn't have all the feelings when I started writing it, and then over the next 10 years, I encountered more and more, and those are what became little scenes and people, if that makes any sense.
Let's give a final round of applause.
Hey, this is Eric from MyOnCinema.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.